Hello dear students, welcome back to another online session. This is a new lesson on narration. Narration indicates to changing of speech. In this lesson, we will discuss about narration in details. So let's get started. What is a narration in English grammar? We often have to give information what people say or think. In order to do this, you can use direct or quoted speech or indirect or reported speech. The art of reporting or the words of speaker is called narration. We also say that changing the direct speech to indirect and indirect to direct is called narration in English grammar. There are two types of narrations, or there are two main ways of reporting the words of a speaker. They are direct speech and indirect speech. So, she said, I am a teacher. This is an example of direct speech. She said that she was a teacher. This is an example of indirect speech. Besides, we have to know what is a reporting speech. Reporting speech is a part which is outside the inverted commas, the part before the comma. It involves two parties, the reporter and to whom she or he is reporting. So she said is reporting speech here, and this is outside the inverted comma here, and this is a part before comma here. So we have to know what is a reported speech also. So reported speech is the part which is within the inverted commas. So here you can see I am a teacher is a reported speech here, and this is within inverted commas. So what is a direct speech? Saying exactly what someone has said is called direct speech, sometimes called quoted speech. Here, what a person says appears in quotation marks and should be word for word. That means direct speech is the exact speech said by the speaker which is put within quotation marks. For example, she said today's lesson is on presentations. So today's lesson is on presentation is direct speech here, and this speech is put within quotation mark. So here also today's lesson is on presentation, she said. This is also the example of direct speech. So here you have an example, dear boys. Rama said, I am very busy now. So the speaker Rama is a reporter here, and said is a reporting verb here, and I am very busy now. This is reported speech here. Here you have another example. He said to his friend, I like sweets very much. Here he is a reporter here. Said is reporting verb here, and to his friend is object of reporting verb here, and I like sweets very much. This is reporting speech here. So dear boys, I hope you understand this matter. So what is an indirect speech? In this form, the actual words of the speaker are transformed and said written in a simple manner. For example, Rama said that he was very busy then. So indirect speech, also known as reported speech, is the substance of the speaker's speech given by someone else. So reporting speech and reported speech have no comma between them in indirect speech. The tense of reporting speech is the same as before. So here you have some basic rules to convert a direct speech to indirect speech. So there are 5 basic things that have to be changed while converting a direct speech to an indirect speech. Number 1 is to change the reporting verb according to the reported speech. To remove the inverted commas from the direct speech and replace them with an appropriate conjunction. To change the pronoun of reported speech accordingly. Number 4 is change the adverbs of the direct speech. And number 5 is change some initial words. So these are the basic things you have to maintain while changing direct speech to indirect. Here you have an example, dear boys. Rajiv said to me, I shall go to the picture today. Indirect speech will be, Rajiv told me that he would go to the picture that day. So, what we can see in these sentences? So, this reported speech say to. Say to. This reporting verb say to changed into told, and inverted commas are replaced by that, and reported speech pronoun I is changed into he. Reported speech verb shall go is changed into would go. As another change, today is changed into the word that day. So the direct is Rajiv said to me, I shall go to the picture today. The indirect one is Rajiv told me that he would go to the picture that day. So you have to be very careful about personal pronouns. You also need to be very careful with personal pronouns. They need to be changed according to the situation. So you have to be careful and about the context also. You need to know the context. There is a possible confusion when you try to change reported speech to direct speech. So she said she had been waiting for hours. Here a question rises, is she one person or two different people? Or I told them they would have to ask permission. Are we talking about two groups of people or only one? So rules of change of pronouns. Here you have some rules of change of pronouns. When you have I in nominative case, in possessive case you have to change it to my, and objective case is me, and reflexive case is myself. We, our, us, and ourselves. You is nominative case and possessive case is yours. Objective case is you and reflexive case is yourself. When we have he as nominative case, then we use his as possessive and him as objective and himself as reflexive. When she is a nominative form and we use her as possessive, her as objective, and herself as reflexive. When they is a nominative form, then we use their as possessive, them objective, and themselves reflexive. Pronouns are changed according to the rule designated as SON. What is SON? S stands for subject, O stands for object, and N stands for no change. So number 1 is first person changes to subject of reporting verb. Second person changes to object of reporting verb. And there is no change if there is a third person. So rule 1 is first person pronoun of reported speech is changed according to the subject of reporting verb. For example, she says, I am in 10th class. She says that she is in 10th class. So here she is changed according to the subject. I say I am an honest man. I say that I am an honest man. Here the first person I is not changed. Rule number 2 is second person pronoun of reported speech is changed according to the subject of a reporting verb. She says to me, "You have done your work." Indirect speech is, she tells me that I have done my work. She says to her, "You have done your work." She tells her that she has done her work. I say to them, "You have done your work." I tell them that they have done their work. Rule number 3 is, third person pronoun of reported speech is not changed. You see, he says he does not work hard. He says that he does not work hard. So here we have third person pronoun here, he, and he isn't changed here. Every day, everybody says they have spoken the truth. The indirect form is, everybody says that they have spoken the truth. So, rules of change of verb or tense. Rule 1 is, if reporting verb is given in present or future tense, then there will be no change in the verb or tense or reported speech. For example, the teacher says. The teacher says. Gayatri performs on the stage. So says is a present form here, present form of verb here. The teacher says that Gayatri performs on the stage. So there will be no change in the reported speech. The teacher is saying Gayatri performs on the stage. Here again, here we have the present form of reporting verb, so we should not change the reported speech. The teacher is saying that Gayatri performs on the stage. Here we have another example. The teacher will say Gayatri is performing on the stage. The teacher will say that Gayatri is performing on the stage because we have the future form of verb here, that is will say. If reporting verb is given in past tense, then the tense of the verb of reported speech will change into corresponding past tense. This is rule 2. For example, the teacher said, "I am suffering from fever." So you see, the reporting verb is in past form here. So we have to change the reported speech according to this verb. For example, the teacher said, "I am suffering from fever." And indirect speech will be, the teacher said that she was suffering from fever. Here we have another example. She said to me, "I took the breakfast in the morning." So the indirect speech will be, she told me that she had taken the breakfast in the morning. Corresponding changes to past form in an indirect speech from the verb in reported speech. Simple present changes to simple past. Present continuous changes to past continuous. Present perfect changes to past perfect. Present perfect continuous changes to past perfect continuous. Simple past changes to past perfect. And past continuous changes to past perfect continuous. In future tense, will or shall changes to would. Can changes to could. And may changes to might. So here you have a basic chart. When present simple tense changes into past simple, here we have an example. He said, "I am a teacher." So the indirect speech will be, he said that he was a teacher. Present continuous will be changed into past continuous. He said, "I'm having lunch with my parents." He said that he was having lunch with his parents. Present perfect simple changes into past perfect simple. He said, "I have been to France 3 times." He said that he had been to France 3 times. Present perfect continuous changes into past perfect continuous. He said, I have been working very hard. He said that he had been working very hard. So, dear boys, past simple changes into past perfect. For example, you have here an example. He said, I brought a new car. He said that he bought a new car. Past continuous changes into past perfect continuous. He said it was raining earlier. He said that it had been raining earlier. Past perfect changes into past perfect. That means there will be no change. Past perfect continuous also, there will be no change in indirect speech. Dear boys, you have some of the exceptional cases of Rule 2 here. Exception 1 is if reporting speech has universal truths or habitual fact, then there is no change in the tense. For example, our teacher said the earth is round. An indirect form will be our teacher said that the earth is round. Although the reporting verb is past tense here, we should not change the reported speech according to the past tense because this is a universal truth. The earth is round, this is a universal truth. So we have to change this sentence in this way. Our teacher said that the earth is round. Here we have another example. Rajiv said to me, he plays with right hand. So this is a habitual fact. Although this reporting verb is past tense here, we should not change the reported speech. So you see, Rajiv told me that he plays with the right hand. So this is habitual fact. So exception 2 is if reporting speech has past historical fact, then there is no change in the tense. For example, our teacher said Ashok left war after the conquest of Kalinga. So indirect form will be our teacher said that Ashok left war after the conquest of Kalinga. So you see here Ashok left the war after the conquest of Kalinga. This here we have a historical fact. So the reported speech will not be changed here. So we say our teacher said that Ashok left war after the conquest of Kalinga. Exception 3 is if reporting speech has two actions to be happening at a time when there is no change in the tense. For example, he said, my wife was making lunch when I was studying. So you see dear boys, here two action is happening at the same time. So the indirect speech will be he said that his wife was making lunch when he was studying. Exception 4 is if reporting speech has some imagined condition, then there is no change in the tense. For example, she said, if I were rich, I would help him. So, if I were rich, this is an imagined condition. So if I were rich, this is an imagined condition. So there will be no change in the tense here. So you see, the indirect speech will be, she said that if she were rich, she would help her. Exception 5 is if reporting speech contains had third form, to infinitive and would, could, should, must, might, ought to, etc., then there is no change in the tense. She said to me, you should obey your elders. She told me that I should obey my elders. Some other small changes that used to take place while changing direct speech to indirect speech. For example, here changes to there, now changes to then, this changes to that, these changes to those, today changes to that day, Tonight changes to that night. Yesterday changes to the previous day. So last night changes to the previous night. Last week changes to the previous week. Tomorrow changes to the next day. Next week changes to the following week. Ago changes to before. Thus changes to so. Hence changes to dance. Hither changes to thither. Come changes to go here. So dear boys, that's all for today. So if you have any confusion while watching this video, then feel free to ask me. So dear boys, take care. Thanks to you all.